right, so habit number 2 is to begin with the end in mind. So I'm just starting to go through this chapter. Actually, I've only listened to about 3 minutes of the 2 hours that's in it. But like I said, I've read this before, and I'm just going to give you my interpretation now, and then I'll basically follow up with different videos as I basically go through the book again. So beginning with the end in mind. This is really important. I actually don't follow this myself all the time, which I really should. I follow it some aspects of my business and life, but not all of them. And the problem with that is if you don't start with the beginning in mind, and it's kind of like setting targets, that if you don't have something you're aiming for, then there's no way you could get there eventually. But if you don't know where you're going, there's no way to really get there, right? So how does this apply to your business? Now, the one thing I keep on talking about all the time is, basically your business is basically just a math equation, right? And the way you break this down, and you can do it on pen and paper, you can use an Excel spreadsheet, you can use the Profit Planner, which I'll put a link in the description below, or with the kitchen sink program, which is basically just runs your entire business. It's in there as well. That'll be released soon. But what ends up happening is, most people say, especially when they need more work, is I need more jobs. I need to book more jobs. I need more calls. I need more this. I need more that. But the problem is you don't, you're not working backwards. So by you saying I need more jobs, if you book one more job, well, in your brain, you booked a job, right? So you booked more jobs, but it just happened to be one. But if you needed 3 or 4 jobs, well, then you didn't hit your goal. But because you only said more jobs, there's no way to hit the 3 and the 4 that you're supposed to get, right? So how do you correct this? This is where you start at the end and work your way backwards. And it's really simple. Especially with the Profit Planner, it does it for you, right? And because it's a shitty looking program, because I've only spent time on the functionality of it, and because I don't charge really, it's $7 a month, because I don't have the money coming in, I don't want to spend all this money on, basically rebuilding it and putting a bunch of lipstick on it so it looks really nice. Right now it's functional, right? And it's easy to use. It's like using a spreadsheet, but it doesn't break on you. So what you do is you want to figure out what your life, what you want it to look like, right? So for that is, okay, what do you need in your personal life? And you can figure out all your expenses, right? So it's for everything. What's your mortgage cost? What's your insurance cost? What's your utilities? That kind of thing. Spending money, college tuition for your kids, savings, vacation, all that stuff, right? And for that, let's just say it's a total of $100,000. And for this though, because it's $100,000, you really have to add about 20-25% for taxes. So figure just even numbers, say 120 grand, right? Now you're going to do the same thing for your business. To get to that number, what do you need to do business-wise to accommodate that? And then from that, you want to look at okay, I need X amount of jobs and this and blah, blah, blah. So then you can start forecasting. It's okay, I'm going to need someone in the office to answer the phone calls and emails. I need this person. I need this staff, whatever. The warehouse, do you need a warehouse? If yes, what are those expenses per month? What's your insurance? What's your car insurance? Health insurance, all that stuff, right? And let's pretend that all that stuff comes up to $400,000. Now, when you factor in this stuff, you are not factoring in the labor to produce the jobs, because that's coming out of a separate line item. This is specifically for stuff for your company. So again, if you needed someone in the office to answer the phones, how much does that person cost you? And remember, when you're looking at the cost for employees, you always want to add about 40% for taxes, workman's comp, all that kind of stuff. It's not an exact number, but that'll get you close to what you need to be. Okay, so if you're paying someone just say 100 grand a year, well, it's really $140,000 that it's costing you, right? So we're going to pretend that comes up to 400,000. You're going to add in your personal expenses, which is 120, because 100 plus the 20% for taxes. So that's $520,000. Okay, you're going to divide that number by 52, because number of weeks in a year, and that's going to give you $10,000 per week that you need to hit in gross profit. Okay. From there, what you're going to do is figure out what your average profit per job is. So for this, let's say it's $2,000. Well, if that's the case, then you need to hit on average 5 jobs per week in order to hit $10,000 per week in order to hit $520,000 per year. Like, it's literally that simple. So you go from saying I need to book more jobs to now I need to book 5 jobs. Okay. And of course, if you're in more of a seasonal type business, you got to look at your past business and say, okay, X percent's coming from January, X from February, March, and so forth and so on. So it may not be a consistent 5 jobs per week. Maybe in the off season, like the winter months, maybe you're realistically going to hit 3 jobs. But on the spring and summertime, maybe realistically you're more in 8 job range. Okay. But whatever the case may be, you have to get to an average of 5 jobs per week, so that way you can hit your numbers for the year. And that's what it means to start with the beginning in mind. And then it's also, you have to look at it's not so much the financial, but it's the time aspect as well. If you're currently working, 60, 80 hours a week, well, and you don't want to work those 60 to 80 hours a week and you have to bring someone else in, well, if you're working 80 hours, you bring in someone for 40, so you're only now working 40 hours a week, well, then you just literally add whatever you're going to be paying them plus the 40% into your business expenses, so that way, and then you can factor it in. So maybe it's not 5 jobs a week, now it's like 5.5 jobs per week, or 6 jobs, or whatever it may be, right? And like I said, the Profit Planner does this all for you. And like I said, $7, it's literally nothing. And then besides that, what it does is not only tells you that kind of information, there's also these levers that you can basically push up or down within your business, and it will show you what the ramifications for that is. And again, if you wanted to work less hours and you wanted to hire someone else, well, once you put that information in there, it'll tell you based upon your averages, okay, to add on this employee or to add on this expense, well, instead of working needing 5 jobs per week, now I need to book 5.5 jobs per week. Because what happens a lot of times is people think they can't afford another employee or a piece of equipment or whatever else it is. But when you start breaking it down this way, it's like, oh my God, I need $50,000. Well, no, not really, because if your average job is, again, $2,000 in profit, you need, $50,000. Well, that's only 25 jobs. And in the course of a year, that's only a half a job extra per week. So, and there's all different kinds of ways to get to that half a job a week. It's pretty simple. It's either you increase your number of leads that are coming in, you raise your prices, or you can improve your selling. So there's basically 3 different things you can do. Or if you're in a type of business where, I'm in fencing, so it's normally a one-off kind of job. But if you're in some kind of service where they will buy more often. So if I got into fence staining, that's something I'm considering, just because it's a lower profit item, but it's kind of like a landscaper. Yeah, they're only making $20 off of my lawn, but they're doing it week after week after week. Whereas with the staining, yeah, obviously I'm going to make a few $100s from that, but it might only be every 3 years. But it's better than the fence company, because unless they move or something like that, I might only make $2,000 from that customer in the next 15, or actually probably 20 to 30 years, unless they end up moving somewhere else. So it's $2,000. But if I'm making $500 from staining every 3 years, just say after 30 years, that's 10 times, right? So I made $5,000. So even though it's only 500, I'm still making 2.5 times more from each customer over the lifetime. Okay. So anyway, that's it for this. There's going to be definitely be more parts to go over this, the second habit, just because, like I said, I'm just going to revisit it. But this is the first thing that popped into my head. I know I've spoken about this numerous times, but it's super important because, again, you want to train your brain to get away from booking more jobs to booking 5 jobs, or whatever that happens to be for you. And the more you look at this stuff, the easier it becomes. And because a lot of people think that knowing your numbers in business is extremely hard, and there's definitely more difficult ways of doing it than the way I'm telling you now. But if something's difficult, you're just not going to do it. And if it's difficult, like, because you're not doing it, you just have no idea. It's better at least to do it as simply as humanly possible, and then to be able to, you know, at least take actions and steps to get to where you want to be. So anyway, I hope you have an awesome day, and I will talk to you soon.